All right, good night, everyone. Tonight's presenter is Corey Fleming. Corey's in his 9th year with CFOA, called a state final in 2018. He's worked in the SIAC. This upcoming season will be his 4th season as a line judge in the SIAC. He played at Edgewater High School. He also played college football at FIU as a defensive back. And then he coached for 8 years here in Central Florida. He coached 3 years at Edgewater, 4 at Point Siena, and 1 at East River. And he also has a side business, I'll call it, Corey, the Fleming Fitness Factory, where he does a lot of work with local youth, and he does a great job with them. And Corey's going to talk to us tonight about physical readiness. So go ahead and take it away, Corey. Thanks for being here tonight.
All right. Hey, thanks, Chris, man. I appreciate you having me on and thinking enough of me to have me come out and present to you guys. And I really just think of it as an honor to talk to a lot of my peers out there, guys who I consider mentors and friends, through officiating. So this is definitely an honor and a pleasure. What I wanted to lead off with, guys, is right now we're about 31 days out before a first kickoff, whether it be a jamboree or whatever. I know you guys at high school, we're starting a little earlier than that, but college, my first college spring scrimmage is on August 20th. So I'm 31 days away from lining it up and really getting out there with my crew and getting things rolling. So I'm really going to talk from the basis of just kind of how I'm going to prepare for these next couple weeks going in. A lot of this stuff is stuff that you can do year round, but kind of giving a snapshot of if you haven't done nothing yet, it's still okay. You still got some time to get something in, do some work, and be okay for the season. And pretty much what I wanted to lead off with was just talking about where we are. We're here in Florida. We're talking about the elements and what we deal with here. Is two things that we know for sure. It's going to be hot and it's going to be humid. So with that being the case, we're going to be losing a lot of water. So hydration is key to being physically prepared to call a football game. You need to be making sure that you're hydrated at least 72 to 48 hours before the game, and then 72 to 48 hours after the game. I think a lot of times we forget about that post preparation of getting ready for the next upcoming week. When we're talking about getting ready to call a game, if we're dehydrated out there, there's no way we're focused on the kids and that next play and really doing a great job of giving them a fair game. We're worrying about ourselves. We're in self-preservation. We're in survival mode because our bodies are, shutting down on us. And the worst thing that happened to you is you feel that body cramp coming up on you, and it's just the end of the first quarter. It's like it's going to be a long night for you. So making sure that you are properly hydrated and adequately hydrated before a game and after a game is vital to having any kind of on the field success and also off the field success. The last thing you want to do is be driving home and you catch that Charlie horse, on the way home, or be laying up 2 a.m, 3 a.m, you waking up out your sleep, with a body cramp. Those are the last things that you want to have. And I know if you've been an athlete or if you've been running around here in Florida outdoors at all, and you don't drink water, it definitely shows no mercy. So hydration is probably my number one and most important thing, because everything else kind of follows along with that once you get down with that. The next thing I want to go into is really going into making sure you give yourself a proper warm up. Prior to a game, we get there, most of us are coming straight from work. We're changing in our cars, you're probably eating a snack on the way, whatever the case is. So when we get to the field, it's kind of just, we get on the field and we go to work. So just giving yourself a good 15, 20 minutes to give yourself a good warm up, making sure that your muscles are ready to handle the task that it's about to endure. You got to be ready to do the movements. You don't want the first kickoff going, 90 yards the other way, and that's the first time that you're sprinting. That's not going to be a good look. It's not going to feel good. and it's probably you're gonna end up getting an injury. And pretty much all of these points that I'm going to be talking about are going to be along the lines of primarily injury prevention. At the end of the day, if we're not out there, the kids really don't have a game. They can't do the game without us. So we have to be, we got to be available. And we're already got a shortage. There's always a number shortage. So we got to do our due diligence to make sure that we are going to be accountable for these kids and be out there. And keeping ourselves healthy is the small part of what we got to do to make sure we're there from week to week. What I would say with warming up, stretching is definitely key, but making sure that you do some sprints. I know most guys say they'll jog around, kind of get warmed up like that, but you really do want to get your body moving, do some karaoke, do some shuffles, do all the things that you're going to end up doing on the field. So that way, all of those muscles are warmed up. You don't want the first time you're turning your hips and running and you didn't do any kind of hip work and now you threw your hip out of place. So just make sure that you warm up every major muscle group that you're going to use in the game, which is our entire body. So make sure that you guys are having that mindset when you're warming up. Also, just warming up, it wakes you up. If you're in the law, you kind of that transition from work to the game. That warm up time gives you that time to get yourself mentally prepared for the game as well. Let you know that, hey, I'm at a football game. I'm not in the office anymore. Kind of get yourself rolling. So just little things like that, I think, are very helpful for guys for mindset and just injury prevention going into a football game. The third thing I want to talk about with you guys is really conditioning. And when I say conditioning, I'm more or less talking about game-like conditioning. I like to call it 30 for 30 on 30. So we got 30 reps for 30 yards on a 30-second rest period. And just doing that, you won't think much of it, but sprinting 30 yards, taking a 30-second rest, doing that 30 times really gets your blood flowing. It really gets you going. A lot of the things that we deal with conditioning is we don't never get our heart rates up high enough. And then we get that first, big 50-yard catch and we got to hustle down. We got to get the chains down there. We got to flag, back in the back and we may have to run back, so being able to have that continuous back and forth conditioning is vital to what we do all the time. And as you notice, I didn't say, run 60 yards, run 100 yards. Well, all of those things are good and it does have a place and you should do those things. Doing that 30 for 30 on 30 is really doable for anybody who's going to be on the field. If 30 yards is a struggle, you probably shouldn't be on the field. So pretty much having that happy medium of not really running a whole 100 yards, not just only doing 10 yards, but having that intermediate 30 yards and having that 30-second rest in between gives you that game-like tempo. Most of the teams, we get that 40 seconds, but most of them are snapping it in 20, 25. So, but still getting yourself a baseline to giving yourself some kind of cardio. I'm all about doing 110 sprints. I think those are some of the best things that you can do if you're a younger guy that still can get out there and push yourself. That's going to get you in the best shape possible. But my real advice on conditioning is do explosive movements, do plyometrics, broad jumps, vertical jumps, just something as simple as going out and shooting basketball. Now, don't play a pickup game of basketball. I'm not advocating for that. Definitely never play a pickup game of basketball during football season. Never. That's a cardinal rule. But definitely just get out there and just shooting around, jumping and doing that jump shot, chasing the ball down on all those bricks that you're probably going to have, so all of that stuff is going to be good cardio work. It's going to be good exercise for you. And it's doing something that's still fun and enjoyable. And before you know it, you've been out there 20 minutes and your dog tired. So doing simple things like that, getting your body accustomed to the things that you're going to do on the field. And reason I say plyometrics is because we explode a lot. You know, we do short bursts. It's never for really a long period of time. So just to get yourself in position, getting out the way. You know, a lot of times kids get up on us pretty quickly and we have to, you know, make sudden movements. You don't want the first time you making a sudden movement and tearing that Achilles because you're planting wrong and you're thinking your body is used to doing that movement because you've done it your whole life. But now you've went 6 months without doing that. You know, you don't realize how much your body is now not remembering that muscle movement. So you have to retrain it and make sure that you're keeping it active so you don't lose it. So just simple things like that, jumping off of a box, just making sure that your Achilles, your knees, your joints, those types of things can handle and endure a season. And again, injury prevention, you know, making sure that you are able to sustain the entire season is the goal, you know, always. Safety first. The other thing I want to say with game-like conditioning is also just do a picture a drive and you're doing your position. So whether you're a short wing or umpire, you know, run through a up-tempo pace of going down the field, marking off penalties, hustling to a spot, short gains, long gains, sudden change, you know, change of possession, you know, having to sprint back 50 yards, you know, killing the clock, you know, working on all of those small mechanic things that we're going to do, you know, do those movements and do them at a higher tempo than possibly what the game would be to really start making sure that you're, you know, are you in physical enough condition to get out and call a game? And the reason I say do it at a higher tempo is because you're not going to spend 2.5 hours doing it. So to condense that time, you just up the tempo to make sure your heart rate is elevated enough to get enough in, to get enough out of it. So that would be another good suggestion of things to do to get yourself prepared. And it's also those mental reps, you know, being able to, you know, visualize yourself dropping a beanbag, you know, throwing your flag and getting the spot, squaring in and getting that palm up, you know, killing the play. And, you know, even if you work on reporting to the referee, you might look a little silly out there talking to yourself, but just you're practicing and getting those, getting that cadence down and getting that verbiage down when your heart rate is up. You know, we all practice these things at home and, you know, in the luxury of AC and a book in front of us and a mirror, you know, but we never really work on those things when our heart rate is up and we're really in the moment and the game is going. So those are things that just to kind of practice and work on to just kind of make sure that you're ready and giving good information. Even when you're winded, you know, you can articulate yourself and give good information to your referee so he can make a good announcement as well. One of the last things I want to leave you with, and I think it might be one of the most overlooked things, is rest. You got to make sure that you're getting adequate amount of rest. At least 24 to 48 hours prior to a game, you should be averaging between 6 and 8 hours of sleep, getting that rest. And also before and after the game. I know after the game, people are not, again, you don't really think about the recovery side of how vital that is to get you going for the next week. But if you're not getting that rest to recover for all that you just exerted on a Friday night, and you're not getting that adequate amount of rest and you're not hydrating yourself, you know, all you're doing is putting yourself on a downward spiral for the end of, by week 5, you're calling Don saying, hey, I tweaked this and I hurt that because you're not allowing those muscles to recover. And I know you guys are, you know, older like I am. You know, you got to make sure that you're taking care of yourself and you're doing those little things, the little extra things to keep your body at its highest peak and an optimal point to be able to get out there and perform and give these kids a good game. The other thing I would say, it helps with your decision making on the field when you have good rest. You know, you have more energy. You just feel refreshed, and you know that's what we got to have. That's who we got to be when we're out there. You know, all eyes are on us when we step on the field. And the one thing they don't want is somebody who looks sluggish, somebody who looks like they're not into the game, somebody who looks like they're ready to go, then they're not excited to be there. You know, those are things. Those are all signs of, you know, oh, we got a horrible crew. The refs cost us the game, and even though, you know, we don't have, you know, any major influence in the game, but somebody's going to look for somebody to blame. And if you give them any inch, you know, a centimeter of doubt or anything about you, about that call or anything that, you know, you're presenting yourself as, they're going to put it on us every time. So to try to alleviate any of those things and know that you were in tune and, hey, man, those guys called a great game. You know, they seen us, we jogged on the field, we jogged off the field, we jogged on penalty mark-offs and all of those things. It just looks good. You know, we got the ball around clean, guys hustle. You know, at the end of the day, those people will respect that, and, you know, and not have us as the scapegoat when their team doesn't win. And I just want to wrap it up by saying, you know, guys, be excited. You know, that's one of the things that keep me going about this thing. Is that I'm just excited to be a part of the game and still, you know, be a part of it to where it's important. We got the best seats in the house. We're front row. You know, you can't get any closer than we get unless you're putting pads on. I'm pretty sure all of our eligibility are gone. So this is as close as we're going to get. And, you know, it's a great time to be out there, man. You know, these kids, they stay 14 and 18. You know, we keep getting older and they keep staying the same. So, you know, every year we're going to see those same 14 to 18-year-old kids, you know, so let it be exciting and something that you enjoy to do and just take pride in it. You know, the thing about it is, you know, give the kids what they deserve, and they deserve for the game to be called fair, you know, for the game to be called right. And for us to show up, you know, at least being in physical enough condition to be in the right spots, to see what we need to see so we can make the calls that we need to make, or not make the calls that we don't need to make. And a lot of times it's positioning, you know, and if you don't want to hustle to get in the right position, you may pass on a call or you may make a call, you know, and not have the full scope of what happened. And being physically prepared allows you to make clear judgment calls, to be in good position, to be able to hustle around, get through the game, and give the game what it deserves. And just want to say thank you to Chris, man, for bringing me on here with you guys. And if anybody got any questions, I'm willing to answer anything. Thank you all very much.
All right, guys, anybody have any questions?
Hey, Corey.
What's going on, Kerry?
Not too much. Loving life. Do you have any strategies as far as what would be helpful for during a recovery period? So typically we say you try not to recover in the form of a signal. So you don't want to be, you know, with your arm folded or with your hands on your hips or hands on top of your head. So do you have any strategies for something that could help people and how they should recover?
One of the tricks I'll do is I'll just mess with my pants. I'll be adjusting them, you know, acting like I'm pulling them up or putting my hands in my pocket to get my game card out. Anything to kind of give me a little breather without necessarily bending over. Another thing I would do, I would just hold my whistle up here. This is another way of kind of still having the hands on the head, but I'm just holding myself up here. That's another good tactic to use. One of the biggest things that I do is I work on my breathing. I do a big inhale, I pause for a count, maybe 2, and I exhale slow, and that allows me to regain my breathing. I just keep repeating that, and that allows me to regain my breathing a lot quicker. And again, is doing that 30 for 30 on 30 will allow you to get that win back, because it happens quick. You sprint those 30 yards, it's only going to take you maybe 7 seconds at the most. And you think about, you know, giving yourself that 30-second rest, but you're exerting. And that is key to learning how to get your body to recover, is making sure that you're getting out there and doing sprints. That'll definitely help with you teaching yourself how to calm your breathing down and recover a lot faster.
Hey, Corey, this is great information. Can you touch on pregame stretching exercises you had mentioned as far as, getting your legs, ready for those, quick bursts and sprints? Anything specifically you do?
Yes, I do. If you ever come watch me warm up, I do a lot of calisthenics, shuffle karaoke's, high knees, butt kicks. I'll do some straight leg stretches. I'll do side lunges, groin stretches. I'll do some hip stretches where I lay down on the ground and I fold my leg in front at a 90-degree angle and lay down on top to really get into those hip joints. I know a lot of the older guys may not do that, but you can go to a bench or a trainer table or anything like that and just put your leg up on top of that and that horizontal and just kind of let it just sit there and just let it stretch out. If it starts to feel pretty good and loose, and sink your body weight down and, drop that back knee and sink that body weight down, and that'll really open those hips up. Definitely toe touches, right over left, left over right. Let me see, what else do I do? Hurdle stretches where you sit on the ground, one leg straight, the other leg pull behind. And also while you're sitting down, do another right over left. That's another good hip stretch, especially for older guys that may not be able to get their leg up on a table or anything like that. Sitting on your butt and going right over left and then using that back of the elbow to press that leg away. All of those things are some pretty good stretches that you can do pre-game and post-game. Doing those stretches post-game is again just as vital. Making sure that you don't get that 2 a.m. Charlie horse. Making sure that you stretch after the game is another vital point as well. Good question.
Thank you.
Hey, Corey, quick question. Any, or maybe it's not a quick answer though. Any food or beverage to avoid pregame?
There's so many.
Yeah.
I'll give you a short list. Pretty much dairy. You want to stay away from dairy and anything acidic. Obviously,
Okay.
anything alcoholic,
Right.
but
Okay.
anything acidic. So like orange juice and stuff like that. You want to stay away from that stuff. Sodas with that caffeine and carbohydrates in there. You don't want that kind of stuff. All that stuff fizzles in your stomach, comes up into your chest. So pretty much water, Gatorade, and I really don't want to say Gatorade because it has a lot of sugar in it. That's more, I would say, if you're going to drink a Gatorade, it should be more of a post game type of drink. If you're going to drink something pre-game, I would drink water, Pedialyte, anything electrolyte. So if you have those in Publix or Walmart, they have like the little electrolyte, little tablets that you can just pour into your water. I would drink one of those. But I honestly, what I do, I drink a gallon of water and I drink a full thing of Pedialyte. That's what I do before the game and post game.
No salt tablets or anything like that?
Yeah, you can do salt tablets. But I like to say salt tablets.
Do they
people
still
use-
make salt tablets? That was
Yeah,
that was
this is for
growing
Jamal.
up. That was our coach's remedy. Get you a handful of salt tablets.
Yeah. So I think of all of those as I don't want to curse on here, but when stuff hits the fan, when it's, when you're at your wit's end, I say use those types of things. Salt tablets, mustard, pickle juice, anything like that. That's when, you felt that cramp, twitch a little bit. And it's like, okay, I'm feeling something. Let me try to take care of it. I don't do those things beforehand because I try to make sure I do an adequate amount of water and I do the Pedialyte. The Pedialyte for me, it's worked wonders. I wish I'd known about it in college. When I was in college, I used to get an IV at halftime because I would cramp in the second half, no matter what. I could drink a gallon of water, a gallon of Gatorade, but now I know that's probably what the issue was. I was drinking a gallon of Gatorade also, but a gallon of water and a gallon of Gatorade, and I would still cramp up come third and fourth quarter every week. And so they just started giving me IVs at halftime just so that I wouldn't have that problem in the third and fourth quarter. But now I know now that Gatorade, all that sugar was pretty much depleting all of that water I was drinking. And I would set myself up for failure. So yeah, I would say stay away from any kind of sugary drinks, any kind of acidic drinks, of course, alcoholic drinks, and any kind of dairy is what I would stay away from.
Oh, wow, okay.
Hey, Corey, a quick plug then. Amazon Prime has a Pedialyte Sport.
Oh, wow.
I think it's $10 for a box of 10 packages.
Oh yeah.
I just ordered 4 of them, so it should be here tomorrow.
Well, I'll be right behind you there. Hopefully they ain't sold out. That's a great deal. Now, I would elaborate on the post-game side too. You should drink some kind of chocolate milk or protein shake. Those are good to have post-game as well to help with muscle recovery and to lessen that potential cramping, as well as to drink some kind of protein shake, whether it be chocolate milk or Ensure or anything like that. That's something, muscle milk or anything along those lines is good for you to have post-game to help with muscle recovery as well.
All right. Any more questions? All right. Well, thanks for coming, everybody. And Corey, thank you again for taking time to come and talk to us. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you guys.
And
Hey, good job, Corey.
Thank you. Thank you.
all right. Have a good night, everyone.
Yeah, thanks, Corey. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Corey.
Thanks, guys.
Bye,
Take
guys.
care, fellas.
All right, you guys, take care.